Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Pierre-Paul, Design Studio Solutions Specialist for Autodesk. Today we're going to cover different ways on how to generate points. Okay, to launch Dynamo, go to your palette, transform, and click and hold the Dynamo player because it's the icon above, and go ahead and launch Dynamo. Okay, under my recent files, I'm going to reuse the file I created last, so open recent file and the cuboid. So that's the cuboid, and if you recall, you can move the coordinates of the cuboid to change the size of your cube, which is kind of nice. Now, if you look on the right hand side, whenever I update the my send to Alias, if I update it, you can see it, it's sending to Alias. And okay, what if we said let's not do that all the time? And you can just have two things. You can go ahead and say maybe manual, or if you have a lot of scripts, if you have a complex scripts and you only want to pause one part of the script, what you can do is say click in here, you can say freeze. So if you do a freeze, it will hold this in place while the rest of your code can be played with. So here I can actually physically play with the rest of my script, but it doesn't update the frozen node, which is the send to Alias. If I unfreeze it, then I will go ahead and re-update to the previous updatable file. And no, you cannot really go back to the same state you were before, meaning that if I freeze here, unless I remember what the numbers are, I can't really go back to the what state I was before. So whenever you click unfreeze, it will just re-update automatically, if that makes sense. So if I unfreeze, and it's a huge cuboid, so let's make that smaller. But that's one technique you can use to help you out when you troubleshoot your code. Freezing is a nice one to do. Also, you saw there's the preview, so you can turn the preview off. And here there's two cuboids, the one that you create and the one you send. So if I say preview the geometry and take it off, then I don't see it anymore. So I have my points and I don't see the geometry. And here I see it, and here I don't. Not a good thing to remember. Okay, something else that I'd like to show you, let's go back to preview the geometries, is right here we have a very simple script, so it's not very complicated. But as your script gets more and more complicated, it's good to have some organization. So here, what I can do is I can pick all these inputs, for example, pick X, Y, and Z, and I can say group. So edit, create group, or Control G. And if I right click on this, you can see there's a group style. So you can change the color of your groups. And it's always good to stick to the right colors. So here I'm gonna go, this is an input. So I can say here, this is the cuboid far corner. And even if I have just one, I can group it, Control G, make it well, that's an input, but I don't have any influence on this input, right? So I can maybe right click and switch to a color, let's say maybe gray, and say this is a cuboid origin, and say go. So that's my cuboid origin. And what if I said, no, I really want to put this into here, so I can just slide this into here, and now it makes it nice and big. So now I can say this is my cuboid far corner, this is my origin, and I can do a couple other things. So Control G here, for example, if I say oops, sorry, close that, Control G. And what group style is that? I can say review or action. It's an action, right? Let's say cuboid generation, and I can group this one, and this would be an output. So if I go to my colors, color, this would be output, and this is send to Alias. And again, for this little script, you probably don't need all these groups, but as I said, when your script gets really complicated, it will be nice to say, the pink inputs are here, the action going on in the middle, and then this is the final output of the script. So it's always good to have a good housekeeping on your scripts in general, just to make you aware. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and create a new node. So I'll start a new workspace. So now, no, that's okay. So let's do a new workspace, and now let's go ahead and generate some points. And there's actually really a bunch of ways to create points. And if you look on this side, you have a list, and you can say range or sequence. So let's do it with a range. So range, you have start, step, and end. So here you have default values, so 0, 9, step 1. So this will generate a list of 10. How do we see this? So what if we said, go to display and watch, watch and watch 3D. So obviously watch, and I'm just gonna watch. And this is a list of 10 because it's start at 0, end at 9, and by step. So here I have a list of 10 points. And obviously I can change this range with sliders. So what if I said slider, integer slider? Okay, that's good. Let's do, let's say 30. And that's fine by now. And copy and paste this node. And I'm gonna copy and paste that node as well. I'm gonna say start is 1. Well, start is 1. Or can I start at 0? Yeah, 0, sorry. Start is 0. And that's 30. And then my step, let's do 5. So you can see here under my watch, I have 5 numbers, well, 6 numbers, right? Well, 7 numbers, sorry. It always starts at 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 6 side, list of 6, but it's really 7 items because usually start at 0. And if you change the slider, obviously you will get different numbers. So that's kind of handy. Let's go back to 5. So now I have 5 things, a list of 5 numbers. So what if I said, let's start a point? So if I right click and say point by coordinates XYZ, okay. And right here I have a point because it's 0, 0, 0. I'm gonna say, let's go to X. So now I have a list of points that starts at 0, ends at 30 because my step is 5. If you remember, I have the watch. If you have watch 3D, you can actually have a watch 3D, and you can see in the browser itself, you actually will have a little small window where you have to zoom in quite a lot to see the, minus. You have quite a lot to see the points, but this is a something to view your points as well if you don't see them in the main window. All right, let's delete that. Okay, so that's one way to generate points. So this is a list of points that has 7 items in there, right? So that's how we can generate a list of points. And again, we can really change that on the fly. That's one way. Another way you can generate a list is under list, generate, and you can do a sequence. So if I click on sequence, and you have about the same thing. So let me copy those 3 here because I'll probably need them again. So the start of sequence is, well, let's do 0. It's fine. The amount. So this obviously will be different. So here I would have 7 items, right? If I want to duplicate the same list of 7, and step is 5. So if I go ahead, copy paste this watch to see what do I have. As you can see here, I have the same amount, the exact same list, I should say, here, top and bottom. But obviously, you have different ways of influencing that list. So it really depends on what your case study is as to which way is the best to generate a list. In this case, because it's pretty small, so there's no, it's not really a huge deal. All right. So if I wanted to go ahead and do points, I could say, let's do a point here. And my slider is 7. So now I'm there. Oops, sorry. My step is off. So 5. And I want, sorry, no, 7. And I want to have 5. So I have the same, correct. Here we go. Now, if I want to move that list up, I could say, let's do 10. And then what if I putting that to Z? So now I have the exact same points, duplicated 10 up. So that's one list of points at the top and one list of points second. Another way to generate lists, as you can see, there are a lot of ways to do this. So what if I double click and said 0, let's see, 30, 5. So start at 0 and then 30 and 5. So what if I said, let me copy this and paste, and then unconnect this, and connect that. And then this is my connection to point X. And if I said, let's go 20. So now you can see I have 3 rows of points generated very differently. So one with a range, one with a sequence, one with just small blocks of code. And if you know that your list is not really going to move, this is a pretty efficient way to do it. There's no real, wrong or right way to do so. It's just what suits your need and what is the most expedient, really. Obviously, this is pretty expedient to get a quick list. So those are all the ways you can use to generate points. I would encourage you to get familiar with all the tools we just explored. Thank you for watching and catch you next time.